Thanks so much, everyone, and welcome back. It's a blessing. It is a blessing this morning to be able to share a special message with you. And I thank you for supporting the channel. I thank you for receiving these messages. It's really just tremendous. I got a call from a gentleman yesterday, which is really was the divine spark to send out this message. 33 years old, had been dating a young lady for a little over 3 months, and shared with me that there was mutual excitement on both ends, and his words, even giddy. They were both even giddy at times. And they had agreed upon a special date. It was going to be a whole day. They both participated in the planning, and 2 hours before they're supposed to meet up, she sends a cryptic message, a cryptic text message, and doesn't show up. He has not heard from her since. It's been about 3 weeks. She's active on social media, so clearly she's just fine. And all the pieces have come together, and that sure does sound like a ghost move to me. It sounds like a ghost move to me. And I know I've been there too. People have ghosted me. It has happened more than once, unfortunately. And I want to give you some insight that I believe if you really sit and take it in, you will find comfort in what I'm going to share. And I know it hurts. I know that it lands as a rejection. I know you can start playing a lot of games with yourself. What's wrong with me? What seems to be the problem here? You know, we can go down that road, or what we could do is stop and say, wait a minute, let me look at the big picture here. Let me look at the big picture. This is my personal and professional opinion that I'm sharing with you. When you have built rapport with someone, and rapport, okay, Sheila, how do you define rapport? I would define rapport, it goes beyond a single date or a single conversation. Rapport is an exchange back and forth where you've built up some manner of goodwill, and let's back up and say positive rapport. You've built up some manner of goodwill. It's the foundation. It's the very beginnings, the humble beginnings of foundations of trust is in rapport. I didn't say you're getting into pouring concrete and building bricks. It's the humble foundations of what can lead to trust. So rapport is a very important stage in a relationship. And I would certainly say that two people can build a very positive rapport over 3 months. It's certainly enough of a time frame that you would owe someone, in my estimation, some level of decency. I mean, you don't have to fall on the sword. You know, if you're not interested, or you want to do something different, or plans have changed, okay, fine, perfectly fine. But you do owe a certain level of decency. And so when that doesn't happen, rather than turning in on yourself, which is what most people will do, turn in on yourself, I'm pulling you out to look at the big picture. Because to me, when someone does that, just I'm up, I'm out. They're raising their hand. It's a flag. They're raising their hand and announcing a couple things. Number one, I'm announcing that there's a level of emotional immaturity here. There's a level of emotional immaturity here where I just haven't figured out emotionally how to do it. A lot of people don't know how to extract themselves from a situation where they've built rapport. There may be an assumption on the other person's part, we're going to continue forward. So people get uncomfortable. They don't know how to do it. But emotional maturity is being able to say, I'm uncomfortable. That said, this is part of human interaction, being responsible in human interaction. I need to find a way to let them know respectfully in as decent a way I can. Things have changed. My outlook on what I want to do has changed. Secondly, they're raising their hand and letting you know that there's some character issues. Some people know very well how to do it. They just don't give a damn. I'm on to the next. Doesn't bother me. You're a grown person. You pick up the pieces. So either way, if we're talking about immaturity or character flaws, either way, those are things that you want to look at. And instead of turning it on yourself, you can say, wow, if this was going to happen now, could they do the same thing a year in, 2 years in, 10 years in? I've done this work enough where there's people that I know and that I've worked with through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different relationships, 7 even, multiple marriages, what have you. And I pick up on patterns and trends with people. And I'm telling you, the individuals who can bluntly walk away from you after building rapport and sharing time, if they can do that in 2 months or 3 months, certainly I've seen it done in 7 years or 8 years or 3 years or 4 years. It's just a mentality. And certainly I will say that there's room for growth and maturing over time. I mean, I told you that people have ghost moved me. And sadly, I'm ashamed to say it, but I've done that a time or two as well. It was at a time when the emotional maturity just wasn't there. I have to be honest. I didn't know really what to do. I didn't want to hurt them. I was uncomfortable and I just didn't return the call. And where I'm at now in my life, I think back on that and I can just cringe because I can only imagine a person just sitting, scratching their head and just wondering, what happened? What's going on here? And really it's a matter of, like I said, it's, the emotional maturity is lacking. The know-how is lacking, and in some instances, it can certainly be a character issue. So looking at the big picture, I've said again and again that man's rejection is God's protection, and nothing good together ever breaks apart. I know it's hard, especially when you are anticipating and you're excited, you're looking to build something and get something off the ground. But I'm here to tell you, especially if you have God in the mix of your life, a lot of times it will be cut off quickly to spare you down the road. It will be cut off quickly. Let's rip the Band-Aid off instead of slowly tearing it off. It will be cut off to spare you pain quickly. And then it will be cut off to free you to receive the energy that is a like vibration with you. Those positive reports that you can really, truly savor and enjoy. So I say to anyone who's still dealing in those states of emotional immaturity, and that's how you're operating out here, I would caution you for a couple reasons. Number one, what goes around comes around. Number two, people are more fragile these days. People are more isolated these days. You could run up on the wrong person. You really could. I mean, some people will get the hint. They will say goodbye and everything's fine. Other people will cause you some problems. You just cannot afford to be reckless with people out here. If you are uncomfortable in that area of making transitions or saying goodbye, some nice verbiage is, I have really enjoyed meeting you. And because I've enjoyed meeting you and having conversation with you, I respect you, and the last thing I want to do is waste your time. I really don't want to do that. And I didn't want to do a ghost move. So I'm just out of respect, letting you know some things have changed for me. I don't necessarily feel That energy is there. So, you can go a lot of different ways with this, folks. You don't have to make it a novel, but just giving someone a heads up. And here again, I'm talking about someone you've established a rapport with, repeated contact, conversation. They may have been excited. You may be a little excited. So we got to be a little bit more careful and cautious how we're operating out here and how we're moving. Because I'm telling you, I will do a video this week about being reckless with people's emotions. You run up on the wrong person and it will cause a problem. I've had a number of clients, they had to learn the hard way. They got involved with someone who was emotionally unstable. They didn't know it. I'll tell you what, I'm going to save the stories for later this week, but this is nothing to play with out here. So that's just some thoughts on ghost moves, and I will connect with you soon.